At Arizona State University, we've made online education better, smarter, and more personalized so you can go further in your aspiring field.
I decided to pursue medicine once I realized that ASU did have the online program for biological sciences. You're still required to learn the same curriculum. You're still being tested on the same content that anyone would be tested on in person. The comprehensiveness of the program prepared me so well for medical school.
Explore over 300 programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Get ready, Minnesota. ZZ Top is bringing their legendary sound to the land of 10,000 lakes. Don't miss your chance to see these rock icons live at the Ledge Amphitheater June 12th. Tickets on sale now. You can get all the details at KFAN.com, keyword calendar.
Final hour, Nordo in for PA. It's time for kind of a potpourri of conversation with Lavelle E Neal III, columnist, Star Tribune, StarTribune.com.
Time out.
Yeah.
Are all the original members of ZZ Top still together?
You're hitting me with that question.
Well, maybe more up your alley than mine.
I have absolutely no freaking idea. I just assume.
And what's the name of this amphitheater again? The what?
The Ledge.
Where's that at?
It's up, it's past St. Cloud, just barely.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Been it's a good spot.
Okay. All right, if you say so.
Yeah, the best I can do is tell you that the current members per Wikipedia are Billy Gibbons, Frank Beard, and Elwood Francis.
The original member Dusty Hill has passed away.
Yeah, he passed away in 2021.
Okay.
That is correct. So let me see. Yeah, and it was Gibbons, Beard, and Dusty Hill. Those were the original three. So it appears Elwood Francis is the replacement for Dusty.
If you're familiar with the
So if you're going to go to the Ledge, you're going to get to see Billy, you're going to get to see Frank, but you're going to get to know Elwood.
Okay, Sharp Dressed Man was what, 1984? 85?
Yeah, again, I mean
40 years ago, right? So how old were they? So they got to be in their 70s easily.
Oh, absolutely. I can just look at Billy here. Yeah, Billy's 75.
Yeah.
He's still rocking it. Wonder if he has to color his beard, though. Probably has to color his beard to keep it fresh.
I don't know. I think the gray long beard will look pretty badass.
Yeah, it tells his story. He's been there, done that. Absolutely. Yeah, I apologize. I can't.
Released 1983. I'm sharp.
You're on it.
You know why? Here's the thing. I can't tell you what the hit songs are today over the last 15 years or so. But my freshman year at Illinois was 1983.
Okay.
And I remember all the songs that were hit songs during that run. That was right after Michael Jackson's Off the Wall. That was Police Synchronicity album. That was Born in the USA by Rick Springsteen. That was Men Without Hats. That was Mr. Addicted to Love. And then the album that just kept turning out top 10 hit after top 10 hit, Huey Lewis and the News Sports album.
I remember Huey Lewis.
It was a banger from start to finish.
Would Huey? Okay,
that's all of that,
so that's what you were listening to in college. You were listening to Huey. Were you listening to MJ?
Well, here's the thing. Being an African American, grew up in the South Side of Chicago, and listening to R&B stations all the time. All of a sudden, I'm dropped into a school in which there was only 4% African American students at the time. I was kind of forced to listen to different types of music. So I expanded my musical horizons. I saw the Police perform at Assembly Hall in Champaign my freshman year. It was 83 or maybe early 84. UB40 opened for them, and Martha Walsh from MTV was the host.
Was UB40 red wine? Yes. Wine?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. So my musical taste kind of expanded greatly.
What do you listen to when you're on the beach in Fort Myers?
Thank heavens for Sirius XM satellite, and I also have the app on my phone, so I usually just...
But you would trend back now that you're not forced to listen to Huey Lewis in the News, you might trend more R&B nowadays, right?
Yeah, like the Groove Station or XL Fly, I was a house music kid, too, when I was in my early 20s, so sometimes I'll check out Diplo to see what type of beat he's kind of...
House music?
Yes, house music.
You ever go to dance clubs or raves?
Yeah, the underground.
Wow, okay. Wow, 50 Shades of Lavelle. I did not know we were going to dig into this. I'm kind of interested in your clubbing days.
Yeah, I mean, when I was in Chicago, it was like Farley, Jackmaster Funk. It was Farley Keith, actually. Ralphie Larraz Rosario, Kenny Jam and Jason, Julian Jumper Perez. Those are all the big time DJs in the house music scene in Chicago.
That's sweet.
So they would, make appearances all over town, all these clubs, all these warehouses that were converted into clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Go there and get your sweat on.
Just pop up out of nowhere, too, some of them. They weren't necessarily up to code, but the lights were flying on those nights, right?
Yep.
Oh, that's super cool. When do you go down to Fort Myers for spring training?
Looks like March 5th this year.
March 5th?
So I'll be working there for a week or so.
Is that later than or earlier than normal?
It's earlier than last year. I think last year I got there for the last week. I got there for 4 days the last week of
That's not enough time for you.
I appreciate my bosses letting me go because the streak continues now. I've gone to Florida every year for spring training since 1995. What is my first year on the Royals beat?
So you probably aren't, in the same vein that you would have covered them 20 years ago, for instance, that you're going to spend some time down there working, obviously, and we're going to follow you at the Strip, but you're also going to get a little away time, right? Now you're kind of like, you got to be like Fort Myers spring training made man down there.
Yeah, I know a lot of people down there. I know my way around. So, I always thought I was destined to retire there because I know the area so well. But man, this last hurricane that came through, it really did a number on a lot of my friends down there.
Really?
And a lot of properties, and the people have moved. Some people have just said, I'm done with Florida, and I
know there was conversation in California over the last few years about insurance carriers, the cost of things and such. So insurance carriers actually pulling out of California.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Florida. Is that similar as it pertains to hurricanes?
Well, the insurance bit has gotten bigger down there. Now they want if you're building on Fort Myers Beach, it's got to be built a certain way, or it has to be on stilts to deal with tide and incoming waves from the ocean. Or I'm sorry, the Gulf of North America, as I like to call it. So that is a lot of hurdles. There's still, I know I haven't been down there in a year, but last year when I was down there were still houses boarded up. It had not had repairs begun yet, just because of insurance hassles and getting permits pulled and getting insurance payouts. It was really frustrating for a lot of people. And some people were like, you can tell me it's taking 3 years. It's going to take 3 years to get this house redone. I'm 72. I'm out.
Yeah.
And they just throw up their hands and leave,
Yeah, it stinks. And the risk of that is the price of paradise, the risk of hurricanes, but the financial unease associated with it's a difficult spot.
But a lot of the key players down there have Minnesota ties. The mayor of Fort Myers Beach, his name is Dan Allers, and he is from Spring Lake Park, Minnesota.
Of course, you know the mayor down there.
And so, the big Margaritaville resort that opened on Fort Myers Beach a year ago, 2 Minnesotans are behind that effort.
Really?
So some of the key players in the recovery.
I knew there was a Margaritaville, I think, Fort Lauderdale. I wasn't aware of one on the Gulf side.
Yes.
The Gulf of America, as you say. Or North America.
Gulf of North America.
Gulf of. Well, let's include Central in there. Why not? Just Gulf of America. That includes North and Central.
Yeah, the Gulf. Hey, how about this, Blake? The Gulf of CONCACAF.
There you go.
That sounds good.
If we're going to start renaming things, let's just try to make everybody happy. All right.
Can you tell us what CONCACAF stands for?
Confederation of North American, Central American, and Caribbean. No, not Central American. North Central Caribbean Federation. I think I'm close.
Yeah, that's.
It stands for bad officiating and bad pitches. That's what it stands for.
That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct.
Did you see the qualifier about 3 months ago? It was Costa Rica at home against, I want to say Jamaica, and the game got delayed because an opossum just walked across the field in the middle of the game. It was like the most CONCACAF thing ever.
Yeah, that's.
They had to stop for the opossum to just finish crossing the pitch.
CONCACAF is low rent for a couple of different reasons these days.
Did you just see?
But the Americans are looking good.
You guys are soccer heads. Josh Sargent has got his scoring touch back at Norwich.
Yes, sir.
He scored a goal over the weekend, and when a squirrel was running down the touchline while Norwich was bringing the ball, and I was like, "There's a squirrel on the touchline."
But they didn't stop the game.
They put the camera on the squirrel. It's running. It's like darting in on the playing field right when the dude's coming in and sends a cross in for Sargent to score. The squirrel was like 20 feet away.
That's beautiful.
It was hilarious.
If that was America, they'd be selling, rally squirrels the whole time. Yeah, not so much there.
Wave of optimism in Fort Myers. They're kind of balancing. We got this ownership thing hanging over people's heads, and what that means potentially. I mean, in some ways, there could be this massive change in 2025 and beyond, but for now, they're just trying to play baseball. What do we think?
About the team and the ownership?
About the team. Wave of optimism in Fort Myers, Lavelle.
Even before this last rush of semi-interesting signings, I thought it was still a good roster. They have quality players. They got players who have played in All-Star games. They've got players who are considered, one of the top 10 or 15 in the position. At the beginning of last year, Pablo Lopez was definitely like one of the top 15 to 20 pitchers in baseball based on rankings. He's still about 22 now. The Twins pitching staff, their starting rotation, ESPN had them ranked as the 7th best in baseball going into this season. The bullpen, I believe, was 4th in WAR last year. And some people are predicting that the Twins are going to have maybe not the best, but one of the top 2 or 3 bullpens in the league this year. And if you're going to pitch the ball well, that really helps you out because you don't have to need a lot of runs to win every night. It's nice to have 5 or 6 runs, but you can still win the close games as long as you don't give them away with your gloves. It's harder the other way around if your pitching staff is leaky and your offense has to keep up with your pitching staff. That's a tougher proposition. Absolutely. And from a psyche of a clubhouse locker room, it's even worse. It's nothing like watching leads vanish because your bullpen can't get it done. So hopefully the rotation stays intact. They've got a core group of guys that can get into that 5th inning. I'm still old school. I like to see a guy pitch to the 7th inning, but the average major league start is down to 5 1/3 innings. That's 16 outs.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy. It's down to 16 outs. That's the average start. And so I think the Twins are going to break camp.
Is that just, and I know that, because we live in a vacuum. We live in the Minnesota Sports Bowl, right? Mm-hmm. That has to be a grander, and this isn't just 2 guys talking, about this. There has to be people at a grander stage, more nationally, that are just can commonly chat and just go, yeah, it is kind of ridiculous that we are pulling starters and that math and the stat side of things has gotten so into the weeds that we're playing the game that way. Do people feel that at a larger level?
I think people are frustrated because the game is managed differently because of how they handle bullpens, And this isn't just a Rocco thing, ladies and gentlemen. This is going across the country, What was the ruling that came out with how many pitchers you can have on the roster now? And the extra inning rule was adjusted because managers were using 5 or 6 pitchers between the 6th inning and the 9th inning. And by the time if the game ends up being tied, they got no more moves to make. Right. So one poor sap has to suck it up and pitch 3 innings. And he may put in a yeoman's effort and keep the team in the game. They may win because he decided he was able to throw 62 pitches over 3 innings, and in the 10th, 11th, and 12th, and the team finally wins.
Or he may just get absolutely rocked because he was good for 2/3 and he needed to go 2 2/3.
He goes back into the clubhouse after the game. The manager's shaking his head, way to go. General manager's going, we need a fresh arm. We're going to send you down.
Yeah.
So the guys who stepped up on those situations were getting messed over. And this is, so they came up with the man for man, the guy at second base to start extra innings. Just because the way the game is managed now, you're at the end of the bullpen by the time the 10th, 9th inning comes. So I think it stinks. You have to redefine what does it mean to be an ace pitcher, because it used to be innings. It used to be the guys who were horses, 7th innings, 8th innings all the time. I saw Bob Gibson almost threw a complete season one year. Like he went to the 8th inning and 34 of his 36 starts or something. It was something ridiculous. I think he came within 10 outs of pitching a complete game for every game he picked that year.
Right.
And we're never going to see that unless we shorten games to 7 innings, maybe.
So would you say that the bullpen is the best part of the Twins right now? What's the best part of this team into 2025?
The bullpen's going to have Joan Duran, who has lost 12 pounds. So my theory was right last year, because looking at him, I thought he looks a little soft. It looks like he's not as firm as he was a year ago. And he lost a mile and a half, 2 miles off his fastball. Instead of throwing 103, he was throwing 101. Everybody's like, what's wrong? You know? So maybe he took it to heart and got his body in better shape. You got Griffin Jax, who emerged as one of the best setup men in baseball last year. Cole Sands, who's on the Griffin Jax development arc. He actually pitched really well the second half of the season. based on Bobby Nightingale, our beat writer, his projections has Louis Varland in the bullpen. Varland as a reliever has great stuff. 97 on our fastball, good breaking ball. All right. You got Jorge Alcala, who could touch 97. A little inconsistent, a little wild, but you got to respect the arm. The arm is live. All right. I'm missing a couple of people. They signed a left-hander, Danny Colomb, to work out of the bullpen. And Brock Stewart, when healthy, he's got the best arm in that group. I now know why I don't know much about Brock Stewart, because it seems like he has an annual injury. And last year he had to have surgery, so he's going to be brought back a little more slowly than other guys because he come off surgery. But he's got great stuff. So they got arms, man. They got arms in that bullpen. So yeah, if the Twins are leading after 6 innings, you gotta like their chances of taking home W's.
Well, and I'm curious because the Twins are favored to win the AL Central again.
88 wins, right? Was that the Zips projection?
I got to find it in front of me, but that sounds right. So in that sweet spot of winning the Central, and it's kind of that yearly grind, and the Cleveland's going to probably be better than anyone thought, or maybe not as good as they were last year. But my point is, in all of this is the way you hit on it about 10 minutes ago, that it's better when the offense doesn't have to keep up with the bullpen.
Right.
Where do we sit offensively with the bats right now?
Potentially, it's a good offense. I think even with everything going haywire, with Buxton and Correa and Lewis being broken down, I'm gonna have to look this up. I think the Twins still finished 10th in runs in the league last year. I think they were 10th. I think definitely not 10th in the American League, but 10th in baseball. So they're still top third in scoring. That's not bad. You think about what the possibilities are if we could just get 120 games out of all three of those guys. Could be pretty exciting if you're a Twins fan. So now there's some other hurdles there for Rocco as he puts together a lineup on a daily basis. If Eddie Julian does not win a job, who bats leadoff? And I don't know if who profiles as their number 3 hitter or their best cleanup hitter. A year ago, Rocco said Royce Lewis is probably his best cleanup hitter, which to me was a shocking revelation. I look at a guy like Matt Wallner from Forest Lake, who looked pretty good in the middle of that batting order. But Rocco had it much easier when it came to crafting a daily lineup when he had Nelson Cruz around, because he knew Nelson could bat third, and you can kind of build the lineup around him. The Twins need a guy like that. So they need someone to stay on the field over 120 games or so, and who's dangerous enough at the plate where you could kind of shape the lineup around. And so I'm looking at maybe Correa, I'm looking at more Lewis and Wallner. If two guys, if they can reach their offensive potential, they can help be that core.
Real quick, I wanted to step in because you asked about total wins. Most outlets have it at 84.5 for the Twins as your
from
overall.
A betting standpoint.
You can't win a division with 84 games.
Well, and then I looked at that. Funny you mentioned that. I looked at AL Central winner odds. Twins are the favorite at plus 210. You want to take a value bet. The White Sox are plus 25,000 to win the.
Well, it's not a value bet. That's
they could be plus 250,000. I wouldn't put any money on them. They win the division.
That's just insane numbers. But yeah.
Well, but that's why they're there, is because they will be probably the worst team in baseball again. Probably.
Good chance.
Oakland in that mix.
I can't name a Washington Nationals player.
I mean, to your point,
Robles is still there, I think.
The Twins were 4th in the AL in runs last year.
4th?
4th.
How about
in
that?
the AL and 10th Major League Baseball wide.
Yeah, so it's a head scratcher that they didn't play postseason baseball. If they had a decent, I take that back, because remember, because of the injuries, Paddock was injured, Ryan was injured, Varland pitched for a month and they got set down. Rocco was going to bat with David Festa and Zebby Matthews in the rotation, worried about them hitting their innings limit. So he's pulling them after 4 innings. Bullpen getting stretched because now it's trying to get 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Well, that's why they made that big trade at the deadline to get some relief pitching, right?
So now the bullpen is like 12 to 15 outs a night. Now they kind of wilted under that strain. So that's part of the reason why they fell apart late last year. So, yeah, it's going to be a competitive division. And of course, Cleveland, the rise of Detroit, and the Royals with Bobby Witt Jr. at shortstop leading that charge.
How good is Bobby Witt?
Oh, he's really good.
That's awesome.
He's a stud. I'm glad they locked him up. Heck of a ball player, and they have a sneaky good starting rotation too.
I mean, I'm not
they
happy.
Just locked
He
up Cole
mashes
Reagans.
against the Twins. I mean, Bobby Witt just always brings it against our team.
Yeah, it's just early in his career too, so he's going to be a pain in the Twins' keisters for another 10 years or so.
Are we? So, what's the level of sweat? It's the yearly sweat. It's the perpetual sweat with Lewis and Buxton and feeling good. And,
You have to sweat with those guys. This is how they've operated the last 2-3 years. They've given us no reason to be comfortable about their availability until they prove it. Now, everybody was great at Twins Fest. Buck was thrilled because he had a regular offseason just to maintain and work out.
I saw him talking about that this was one of the few years really in his entire career where he wasn't dealing with something nagging, that he could just go do normal bits as he gets ready for Florida and beyond.
Yeah, Correa's feet are fine, apparently. I guess one of the bits they had him do during the offseason is walk around his house barefoot as much as possible. Apparently that worked for him. So
controversial question. Do people not generally walk around barefoot in their house?
I thought so. He brought it up.
I mean, I got a bunch of hardwood in my house, but I still.
You should have socks on.
Like I don't have like house shoes.
Well, you better have socks on at least today, because my car said -10 when I was driving over here today.
Yeah, we're good now.
Thank heavens for my car starting up this morning, because it's sitting in the driveway now that my sister has taken over the garage. So
your sister come on.
Well, it's one of those fake 2-car garages. It's like, well, if you don't have anything else in the garage, you can fit 2 cars. There better be 2 small to mid-sized cars.
Yeah, correct.
So with my sister moving in temporarily, we got a bunch of boxes in the garage now. And so I volunteered to leave my car out in the driveway, and while she can park, because she's a school teacher, she gets up at
that's the right
4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning.
It's the right thing to do.
To go to school. So she deserves to have the garage.
No, I'm totally with you philosophically on that.
So in the morning, man, I'm in my bedroom. I'm holding my remote starter. I'm going, please.
That's why you just make sure the battery's okay.
Yeah,
I think go to a local O'Reilly's, get it tested, make sure the plugs are good. Everything's good.
I'm a big Interstate battery guy. We've used Interstate batteries in our family I got that from my father, so it goes back about 40 years.
Brand family.
Yep.
Interstate.
Michelin tires, Interstate batteries.
I love it.
Yep.
I have to admit, I use whatever O'Reilly gives me. That's what I use. And in my Jeep, I have two batteries. I got the main one and then this auxiliary thing. So batteries are expensive.
So you got the one in the back too.
It's underneath the main battery.
Underneath the main battery?
Handles
all the electrical crap.
Handles remote start, some of the electrical stuff. Yeah, batteries are expensive in the Nordquist household. There's no doubt about that.
I might have a second battery in the trunk of my car. I might.
Well, we're going to figure that out during the break is what we're going to do. As Lavelle E Neal III is in studio, we're going to go out and check his batteries and his spark plugs and maybe do an oil change in the Ram parking lot.
You open up the hood or the trunk of the car, you look down, and everything's just weird now. Like, you open up, because I put in some windshield washer fluid yesterday.
Okay.
Trunk went up. I can't see any engine parts because it's all boxy and everything's like compartmentalized. All I see is flip this cap up and pour the washer fluid in there. I can't see like the fan belt. I can't see, all the goodies like you used to be able to see.
Yeah, you don't want to see it.
I guess not.
You don't need to see it. Let's do this. When we come back, I do have some more Twins questions, and we will dip into kind of just the changing ways potentially of the team with an ownership shift potentially in motion here as the team is down in Fort Myers with Lavelle E Neal III, columnist, Star Tribune. In studio with me, Brett Blakemore producing right here on The Fan. Text line 64686. Bradshaw and Bryant, KFAN text line. Lavelle ZZ Top Talk, Ialto. Then he goes into getting his sweat on at underground techno parties. Just wow, that was Nick in St. Paul. Then I had, hey, PA, you going to take any texts today or just save it for the last 2 minutes of the show?
Wow.
I always love that one.
Sorry, I'm late. Common was trying out his monologue on me.
No, that's fine. It's how
in
it
the
works.
break room.
The vortex is real.
Yeah, it's you get sucked in. You can't escape it. It is tornadic in the way that it grips you and just doesn't want to let go. And that's the host of the Grum.
But I've seen it.
That's why we love
it. I've seen Barrero do it. Barrero go in Shake's office and just start ranting about something. I know he's trying to talk himself into his monologue.
So, Common, he has it's amazing to me, and I've worked here now. I'm the newest guy at the Fan, and I've been here 11 and a half years, something like that.
Has it been that long already?
It has, yeah.
Wow.
But what's interesting is in those 11 plus years, whatever it is, Common, he's always running a bit. There's always a thing. And in an industry, in a world, in a building where this is shocking, we all like to hear ourselves talk. Common will, hey, have you ever heard this one? And then I know it's going to be 3 to 5 minutes, whatever it is. Hey, have I ever told you this one? It's going to be 3 to 5 minutes with Common. Mm-hmm. He doesn't repeat himself.
No.
I've heard all the good, the bad, the funny, the hilarious, the rips, I've heard them all. Mm-hmm. But then I hear a new one every time. It's insane. Common's ability to hit you with a new bit every single time he sees you. It's his talent, it's his charm, and we absolutely love him.
This station's built its empire on bits, so it kind of it's par for the course here, man. When you walk in through the doors, you're either going to see, witness, or be part of a bit.
Let me hit you with this, because now there was a text to the 64686 Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line. And he was on me about using more text, so I'm going to use one. Why did the Twins not make a move for a well-established first baseman? He throws the name out, and he was available earlier. Pete Alonso was sitting there forever. Was it all about the money?
Well, how much did Pete sign for to stay with the Mets? Wasn't it 20-something billion?
It was a nice paycheck.
2 years, 20. I didn't see the Twins going deep there. I wrote about this Sunday, my 3-2 pitch. I kind of wish once Falvey got the go-ahead to spend a little bit of cash, I wonder how much it would have cost to bring in Anthony Rizzo, a guy who was more than a capable defensive player at first base, who can hit one over the fence every now and then. He's a heck of a teammate, and he'll bite someone in the butt if they need to be bitten. I thought that would be a good addition. What you call it? Is it Justin Turner? I think he's
2 and 54, so it was 26 apiece for a while.
Yeah, the Twins went going there. Justin Turner was another guy, at least someone who's a proven first baseman. I'm not fired up about this Ty France thing. It's almost like he's going to be given a roster spot, which worries me. If he's going to play first base, that affects Edouard Julien and Jose Miranda, who I'd rather see get more at bats to develop, to be honest with you. But we'll see if this Ty France bit, this is a total reclamation project on a guy who was an all-star a few years ago. I thought that would have been a nice spot for someone like Rizzo.
Now I've been nominated for PSTs because I said Common never repeats himself. Fair.
I always love that.
That's fair.
How about his PST announcement? How can he not be in any of the brackets? He's not in any of the brackets.
Well, it's his own tournament.
But still.
It's an inside job.
He should have his own bracket.
Probably.
He's probably said not just 16 preposterous statements, try 1,600.
But
over the course of the year.
Hey, when you have your own tournament, you get to dictate some of the entries, and it makes sense. He somehow finds his way out unscathed. That's why he's the Gadfly.
Remember the year he had a whole bracket of preposterous statements.
Like I said, newest guy, but I've been here a while, 11 years. I've heard them all.
Yeah,
and I'm partly responsible for that.
I made it once. I probably earned it, but I was being deliberately. You know how you exaggerate deliberately at times? That's what I was doing about the rodeo cowboys. Oh, they drive 400,000 miles a year, which is impossible to do because that would be 1,100 miles a day. Every day of the year.
So the head honcho of hyperbole. So. Absolutely. And I'm responsible for it because and I don't know what my radio career ultimately will end up as. Who knows? But grand scheme of things, what my job is here is I need to put it on a tee so that my guy can hit it down the fairway. Mm-hmm. That's my job. And what I fall into is, because I'm also an adult child, is we get really excited about our favorite teams, and that brings the host down roads where maybe he's going to make a preposterous statement once in a while.
You're saying your job is, if this is a two-man scramble, you hit that nice, easy drive down the middle so your partner can go load up and go for the 380-yard blast.
He's hitting 4-iron just to get it in the fairway.
Someone else can blast away.
I'd shoot a lot lower if I did just take a 7-iron off the tee, because I slice it with the best of them. But then golf's not my game.
I finally calmed down, and now I've taken some oomph off my swing, and I'm having some more success about keeping it in the fairway now.
Just smooth and calm, and we just have to acknowledge that we're never going to hit it 300 yards, and let's just try to hit it straight and see where it goes from there. Last random contract bid on, someone asked about Clayton Kershaw, and I think he's guaranteed he's coming back 17th or 18th season. I mean, he's been in the league a long time, and he's getting $5 or $10 million from the Dodgers. I think there's the natural connection there as Twins fans. Like, you see $5 or $10 million for Clayton Kershaw, and you're like, why couldn't the Twins have done that? Why couldn't we do that? I still, and it happens in every sport, and I think baseball maybe more often than not. If Clayton Kershaw has been with the Dodgers as long as he has,
it's going to be Dodgers of nothing.
Exactly, right? So I'm not wrong on that, because I just think in this business, and specifically, and it's not necessarily even, because I think Kershaw went to, he's not a Cali native, is he? I know he grew up
from Texas, I believe.
Yeah, he grew up with Matt Stafford. So it's not like it's a hometown discount per se, but time served, culture of the organization, you've been there a long time. I don't know if Clayton Kershaw at this stage of his career would leave the Dodgers if the Twins offered him $40 million a year.
The thing is, too, I think he's 36, 37 years old. He's had back issues the last few years. He threw 30 innings, 3-0 last year. Yeah. Is that what you want? 131 year before that, 126 the year before that, 121 year. So he hasn't even thrown more than 131 in 2/3 innings in a season. He hasn't started more than 24 games since 2019.
So that's a legacy bit for him.
He's on the back nine of his career. You may be saying he may be making a final turn.
Back nine.
He may have teed off on the 18th hole of his career.
It's very possible. Absolutely.
So, and I know the Twins have not had a good lefty in forever, but this is not the version of Clayton Kershaw you want.
No, probably not. Although, Chris Sale's younger, but Chris Sale, all those injured season in Boston, and now he goes down to Atlanta and he's kicking butt.
Cy Young, right? He won the Cy Young last year, didn't he?
So, but the idea of someone as oft injured as he is, kind of the reclamation project, but again, younger, different circumstances and scenario. Last thing for you, ownership situation, as that conversation and that cloud persists. Anything that's happening, is it still kind of steady as she goes? And obviously, baseball and the games that'll be on the field are the A topic in Fort Myers. But anything cool happening with on the ownership front?
Yeah, hopefully a week from now I'll have something a little more concrete. But I mean, they should be at the part now where they're kind of winding down things and kind of identifying the 3 or 4 bidders who are really serious and asking them, all right, it's time for them to put up or shut up. We've been talking in concepts now. It's time for real numbers to be thrown out on the table, because they
it's still the Phoenix Suns guys, right?
Well, that's one of the that's the one we all know about. But there's been some other groups interested as well. Now the person I talked to said they wanted to know what the winning bid was by opening day. So now we're headed just over a month now to opening day. So we got to be headed down the stretch in this bad boy. So unless there's been some hiccups, I'll be looking into that this week among some other duties here. So, but there's been nothing leaked or no indications by anybody that they have found a winner yet. So still have to be patient, man. Like Aaron and Lori were just the arbitrator just ruled in their favor. They probably won't get the keys to the building for another 2 or 3 months. They've continue to talk to the NBA, prove the financials are right, more background checks.
Just the process.
Fly to New York, kiss the rings of the board of governors, of which Glenn Taylor was a 2-time chairman, by the way. And then they have to approve the sale. So some people think it's just a formality. Some people wonder if people are close to Glenn and knowing what Glenn was going through with this whole transaction, would they be loyal to him and not both voted in? I don't know. I don't know what to think. This is out of my range here. I'm just glad that there's some clarity from a legal standpoint that the panel. And no, I was not the one person who voted in favor of Glenn. So as a Power Trip morning show erroneously reported. So at least we're at this point now where we kind of have a idea how they're going to proceed. And, let's see, once they get the keys, and see how long it takes before they start talking about, hey, can we get a new stadium, by the way?
And we'll see you one more time, and then you're in Florida, right? Next Monday.
Are you here? What's today's the 17th?
Yes.
24th. Twice. You see me twice.
Okay. Party on, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks as always. Lavelle E Neal III, columnist, Star Tribune. Final segment is next. Final segment, 9 to noon, Nordo in for PA. PA enjoying some sunshine, some vocal and some mental maintenance, you could say, this week. He'll be back later this week as we kind of today was really about the hockey team, as in Team USA, and the gift they gave us on Saturday night and the thriller with the Canadians. And that, we're going to get some finality to that, at least in terms of what's going to happen in the final of the Four Nations Cup. Sweden and the United States facing off tonight, and Canada, Finland right at high noon. Lavelle just went Usain Bolt to the elevator because he's on his way to his favorite cigar spot to watch the matinee hockey game. Tomorrow we are going to jump more into the NFL. And, Vikings-related conversations always in the mix, 9 to noon, of course. And with franchise tag day tomorrow, we might start hearing some things trickle out at a national level, the conversation locally. And it is certainly a potential. I've always not only been against it, but it seems just unlikely that the Vikings would use the franchise tag on Sam Darnold. But watch the team prove me wrong tomorrow. That's certainly a possibility. But excited to chat with Thor Nystrom, Combine, NFL draft-related topics with him, get some players start to bounce around in our heads as we get through the Combine towards draft day. And Gopher Illustrated's Ryan Burns in studio with me as well, because there are 6 or 7 members of Gophers football that are going to be in the Combine. And I want to get some thoughts from him on those names. So whether that's, we got Brosmer in the mix, Arianti Ursary, Daniel Jackson, Justin Wally, Cody Lindenberg, Ja Joyner. Those guys are going to be in Indy vying for the affection of NFL teams. But any of those guys look good in purple? We'll chat about those sorts of things tomorrow as well. Dan Hayes of The Athletic's going to join me from Florida and have more conversation on the baseball team as well. Thank you to Brett, and thank you for listening to 9 to noon. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning. The program is next right here on The Fan. Have a great afternoon, and happy President's Day.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.